week on Storyboard, we bring you my conversations with two of the most talked about tech companies from the Cannes Lions Festival as we speak to Leslie Berland, CMO Twitter, and Matt Derela, Global VP for Sales at Twitter. And we also catch up with Jim Squires, Head of Instagram Business, and speak to him about what is the real reason for their increased brand presence on this platform. And on this week's notice board, we have the preview of the new ad for Sonata featuring Sushant Singh Rajput. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. This is Shibani Gharat. Cannes beaches are taken over by tech companies as one can only see Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat of the world dominating the crossset. Also, these tech giants are leaving no stone unturned when it comes to giving a better experience to the users of their respective platforms. In this episode, we bring you two of my conversations from Cannes Lions, where I spoke to those at the helm of driving audience and business for these tech giants, and both are very popular social networks. But in Cannes, social media platforms prefer to be called tech companies. First up, we have Leslie Berland, CMO Twitter, and Matt Derela, Global VP for Sales at Twitter, speak to us about how both of them work as a team to make the Twitter experience better for the users and marketers alike. We're at Cannes and they say it is very difficult to get marketing and sales to agree on something, or in fact to get them into the same room. We have Leslie Berland and Matt Derela, marketing and sales Twitter, with us together today.
Yes.
Pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to be here.
You know, since we are at Cannes, I will begin with Leslie. I want to understand from you, what is Twitter's brand equity today?
So Twitter is a brand unlike any other. When we do research, we find around the world 99% of people know what that bluebird is, when they see it and what it means. And I think today, more than ever before, if you are opening a newspaper or you're reading an article online or you're watching the television, you are seeing tweets everywhere. It's the part of the conversation, it's the center of culture, it is world leaders across the globe and what they're saying and how people are acting and reacting, and everything from sports and news and entertainment. So there's this sort of center and centrality around Twitter and what it means, and it's something that we're very excited about, and it's our jobs to tell the stories and to amplify the voices of not just Twitter, but the voices that are on Twitter every single day.
How does it work revenue-wise?
Well, Leslie and her team have done a remarkable job of really focusing the entire company on, Twitter is what's happening in the world and what people are talking about right now. And that focus has really been the decision that makes 1,000 decisions for our company. It informs everything we're doing on the product side. It informs acquisitions we may or may not make. It informs how we're going and talking to advertisers. I'm here, I've had the privilege of talking to over 20 CMOs since I've been here. And
what are they saying?
Well, I think we're here in a festival of creativity. But before you can get to creativity, you actually have to make sure that people are paying attention. And the first thing that most advertisers are talking to me about is, I've never had an easier time reaching people, but I've never had a harder time actually getting to pay attention. So we're so lucky. We aggregate all this incredible attention from all around the world on the moments that are most important to people. And we have collected that right there and made it really, really easy for advertisers to tap into that and tell the amazing stories that they're creating here at Cannes to move their business.
Leslie, still, what are the biggest challenges to market a brand like Twitter?
Something that's extremely fascinating to me when I joined the company a year and a half ago is that, speaking of brands, there are so many brands that market using Twitter and using tweets and telling their story through Twitter as well. And they do it in such fascinating ways with so much richness and so much color that when we tell the story about us, it's something very different and something very unique. And at the same time that we're trying to tell our story, it's really not just about us, it's about all of the storytelling that's happening on the platform. So we feel a great responsibility and a great accountability to do that in a very authentic way, a very meaningful way, and we're just very excited and humbled by the opportunity to do that.
Twitter has gone through many changes over the past few years. Matt, I want to understand from you, which are the changes that have really worked revenue-wise?
It's hard to talk about any one thing because it's all holistic. The direction and the clarity which the company has on the consumer side and the accelerating growth that's driven. We've gone from 3% growth 4 quarters ago to now we're up to 14% year-on-year growth in daily active users in our last quarter. that's a massive amount of reach and inventory that's now made available for advertisers. And that, frankly, is an incredible tailwind for us as we go talk to customers and they're looking at their metrics and saying, how did Twitter move my business? We're seeing some of the best results we've ever seen, and a lot of that is driven by the focus that Leslie's team's driven and the product innovation that the consumer team's driven.
In terms of product changes, which are the changes that have worked?
You know, we've looked at this really closely. Some of the choices we've made in providing the best of what was happening on Twitter in the While You're Away module in the home timeline. So if you've been away from the app for 30 minutes and you come back in, we instantly give you value right when you get in the app with telling you what's happening. Another one that's directly connected to some of the progress and excitement with advertisers is our live strategy. You know, if our mission is to show the world what's happening, what people are talking about, sometimes the best way to do that is with live video. And we started with the NFL about a year and a half ago, and just in the last 6 weeks, we announced 17 different partnerships. And I think what's exciting to advertisers, and will be exciting for consumers, is we're not just taking video and putting it on Twitter. We're actually reimagining sports, news, and entertainment for a mobile-first generation. So for the first time in the months ahead, you'll be able to go to Twitter, go into our Explore tab, and have a 24/7 news network powered by Twitter, delivered by Bloomberg. And if you're an advertiser trying to connect with a hard-to-reach younger audience, that's a pretty amazing place to be.
Okay, sticking to live videos, you know, you introduced pre-roll before your live videos recently. How has that worked? How excited are brands about it?
Well, we launched it about a year and a half ago with the NFL partnership in live, and brands were incredible. We had over 20 brands participate in that partnership, and it's just really been the start of a march to continue to bring on more and more incredible content from partners. But it builds on a foundation of over 200 partners that we've been working with around the world. An example recently from India that we're really proud of. We recently had the Champions Trophy live streaming on Twitter, and Nissan came on board as a partner. And one of the things that you'll see brands do really, really well on Twitter is they take the passion points that are really important to them, the sponsorships that they have in the offline world, and they come to Twitter and say, how can I own this in the digital world? And it's really a chance for them to elevate what's happening and own ownership in the auto category. So that's just one example of how brands are taking advantage of it.
You know, Leslie, a lot of Twitter's significance comes from the fact that some of the biggest celebrities are present on Twitter. But many have left due to trolling. How does Twitter address this issue?
Yeah, and this is something, from my standpoint, obviously as the CMO, that I care about deeply. We all do, because this is our brand, and this is what the platform stands for, right? Is being able to express freely, and to speak openly, and to feel safe doing so. So this is incredibly important to us. I will tell you that we, as a company, have done more in the past 4 or 5 months to tackle abuse than we have in years. And that is because we put the right leadership in place, the right focus in the company. We shipped tons of product changes, both controls for the people who are on the platform, but also things that we can do on the background to identify people who are more likely to be abusive or to use words they shouldn't be using or speak in a way they shouldn't be speaking. And the progress has been incredible. The job is never done, right? So this work, it continues. This is a problem much bigger than us, right? This is about the world online and about the people in the world today. But I'm very, very motivated and inspired by the work that the team has done, and I know it will just be continuing over time.
You know, at CES you said that we are a platform, a product, a service, you know, microphone, Times Square. We are each of those things. Yes. Can you elaborate that?
Yeah. So it was something that I looked at when I joined the company a year and a half ago, and it was actually close to the 10-year anniversary of Twitter. So we're 11 years old now. But what we did as a team at that time is we looked back over the 10 years, and even over the past, it was then a month or two, to say, how are we talking about Twitter and how are people talking about us? And what we found was that people were using lots of different words in lots of different ways, especially us as a company. And I think part of that was the power of Twitter. However, when we surveyed and researched people around the world who weren't using Twitter, we found they were confused. And they said, we're not clear, what exactly is it? Is it a microphone? Is it a center stage? Is it, you know, do I have to tweet every day? And that was when we went directly to the people who love Twitter the most and use it every day. And we said, why do you love Twitter? What is it about Twitter that is special for you? And around the world, they said almost to the words the same exact thing, which is Twitter shows me what's happening. Twitter shows me what's up. Twitter keeps me informed. And that was a big shift for us. And we said, okay, we have people on one side who don't use the product yet, who are confused by what Twitter is for, who they think we're a social network, a place to connect with family and friends. And then we have the people who love us and use us every day who know exactly what we are. How do we bridge these two things together? So as Matt said, that's really when we anchored in on what we ask in the product every day is what's happening. So we just got back to our roots of who we were. And it's something that we pull through across the company. When we're talking to advertisers here at Cannes, we explain that they can be what's happening, their products can be what's happening, their brands can be what's happening. So it's something it's not new for us, it's what we've always been, which is why I think it's been so meaningful for us.
Leslie, Twitter is, also considered as a platform which is very politically driven, slightly polarized when it comes to certain political opinions. How do you work on changing that perception? Because a lot of brands do not want to associate with a platform with so much seriousness.
Right. It's interesting that you say that because, news and politics is one part. When you're talking about hard news and politics, it's one part of the platform. Obviously, it gets a lot of visibility. It's a lot of what people are talking about. It's a lot of what press is covering all over the world. But what we actually find is sports, entertainment, celebrity. These are the topics that are being talked about just as vibrantly. And what we find actually when we've done research around, again, back to those people who love Twitter the most, is that they find it fun and entertaining. And that's the best part of Twitter. So what we actually did, we just released a new brand campaign a couple days ago, which is about music and about the conversations that happen around music. And one of the themes that we're focusing on is called See Every Side. And whether it be sports or music or politics, frankly, we are a platform where you can see every side. And we actually take a great deal of pride in that. We think that's something that is unique to us. We want all perspectives to be shown. We want that expression to be free and open. We think that's how the world is going to become a better place, a stronger place. Our eyes are going to be more open. So that's something that we actually embrace quite a bit, but it's beyond news and politics. There's every topic that you're interested in that matters to you, that you can see every side and every angle.
All right, thank you so much, both of you. Thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you so much.
And good to have you together.
Thank you. Always.
It is time for us to take a short break. When we return, we speak to Jim Squires, head of Instagram business, on what are the new initiatives on Instagram that the brands are most excited about. And on this week's notice board, we have the preview of the new ad for Sonata featuring Sushant Singh Rajput.